Ladies and gentlemen, live from high atop Scott's social media studios in the heart of the Cedar City here in Lebanon, Tennessee, this is the SEC Football Review, coming to you live. And here we have Michael Clay, Tom Luck, and Michael Hahn. Take it away, fellas.
How you doing this morning?
Doing well. How are y'all?
Super good.
Yeah,
Super
good.
excited.
All right, so we're getting started with A&M played Thursday night, so we're not going to maybe predict that game, but we'll talk a little bit about Texas A&M.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a hardcore fan, I'm sure, of Texas A&M, I'm sure you were looking at Jimbo Fisher. Of course, we know his track record and maybe the starting quarterback. It's a new starter, so obviously it was a cupcake game, but
Yeah, A&M's really put the investment in facilities since joining the SEC, and now $75 million 10-year guaranteed contract. That's an investment, too, so we'll see how that works out for them.
It sure is. The facility is very impressive. I went there when Wendy played them. It was an awesome place to watch football.
wow.
It's great.
I got a question with that. You mentioned $75 million. All right, I know Jimbo Fisher's a professional, but when that's guaranteed, just like we talk about NFL players when they get, do you think he's going to have a drop-off, or what's his motivation?
Well, I think to be one of the greats, so I mean, to win more national championships, he's got one. But I mean, I think these guys, when you get to that level, they're so naturally driven anyway. But certainly, I mean, if that doesn't work, and for whatever reason he leaves in like 3 or 4 years, they're going to be paying him $7.5 million a year.
Yeah.
For years after that. That's a big mortgage. But if it works out, it's well worth it for them, because you can see, I mean, you certainly see at Alabama how much having a football team that is highly successful, how much that means to the whole university community.
What do you think? I'm not interviewing you, but what do you think works out means to Texas A&M? Two national championships, or one?
It's certainly working out. It certainly means getting a national championship.
Yeah, at least one.
And it means getting to a point where you're winning about half the time with Alabama while Saban's there, or being up there at the top of the West.
Yeah.
And that's a tough division to get
Oh,
climb to the top of.
Yeah, before you're talking about national championship, you have to look at the SEC first.
Maybe you win the division before you get
yeah,
around to winning.
exactly. I mean, winning a SEC division is the first task for them.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. It is not.
Well, I think for this year, in the next 3 weeks, we're going to find out, because they play Clemson next week.
They'll know who they are
Yeah.
then.
Then I didn't realize this. Then in 2 weeks after that, they play Alabama. So
We'll know.
Yeah. It's tough.
yeah.
Know who they are after that.
Yeah. You're talking about play.
Gentlemen, what about the South Carolina versus Coastal Carolina? Is that even a relevant game when we talk about how the SEC plays out and how the national championship situation plays out?
Not relevant for any of that. It's a cupcake game. Everybody plays a few of those, and that's one of South Carolina's. They should win that one easily.
Yeah, I don't even think there's a line on it.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Nope. It's just one of those cakewalk for SEC teams.
Good starter game for them. Get the kinks out.
Yeah.
They do play Georgia early, so they need to get the kinks out.
Yeah.
Is Coastal Carolina? I don't even know what conference are they even in?
They've been I'd still call 1AA FCS for a long time, but they've moved up just now, or just very recently, to 1A FBS. But they're a newbie on that level.
Where are they?
I think the Sun Belt.
The conference?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I know
They're in
location.
the Sunny Belt.
Yeah.
Sunnyvale.
Location-wise, it's
Charleston?
just outside Myrtle Beach.
Oh, okay.
And the only reason I know that, a couple years ago, I went to Myrtle Beach and driving in maybe 20, 30 minutes before you get to the beach,
Oh, okay.
you go by there and
Oh, I see.
So
I'll say,
Michael Clay, you're going to go get your doctorate degree at Coastal Carolina, so you
Yes.
can live on Myrtle Beach, right?
yep. That goes to my next point is when I went by, they have a golf course right on front of their campus, and it's beautiful. And I don't know what their golf team's like, but I imagine if you look it up, surely there's a couple good golfers through the years that's come through
You'd
there.
Sounds
think.
like a good future SEC school that I need to be a professor at, maybe, or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
think they're the
Sounds like a
one-
fun school to go.
In baseball, didn't they win the College World Series, or they were
Oh, they
a
did?
few years ago?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
if they didn't win it, I think they were
at least in
Yeah,
Omaha.
they were in Omaha for sure.
Okay,
But-
so when we look at the next game on the list for this weekend was Ole Miss versus Texas Tech. That actually seems like a fairly interesting matchup. What are we looking at there on the spread? Anybody got a little line on that?
Well,
Yeah, I know it's close. I think it was like 2.5. It's a very close spread, but that's one where you have two. I expect the offenses are going to be very, very good. Don't have much confidence in either team's defense. I would say I have a little more confidence maybe in Ole Miss. I think they're going to be stronger at the line of scrimmage than Texas Tech is, but both will be prolific on offense. High scoring game, I would think.
I think so because anytime it's Big 12, there's no talk about defense. So and with Texas Tech,
Especially with Texas
yeah.
Tech.
But you did see a line on that. In my trusty newspaper, there's no line on it.
It's something
Well,
like
what is a trusty newspaper?
Michael, back to the trusty
Yeah.
newspaper.
Is that
I tell
Tennessee?
you, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
As
He
a-
has the actual Tennessee, and that's awesome. Well, way to go, old school there, Clay.
That's
There we
right.
go.
And
I think I can find that.
as of yesterday, this is yesterday's paper. It was, unless I cannot read, I didn't see it anywhere in there, which I was
I
surprised.
see Texas Tech is a 2.5-point favorite. That game
Okay.
is, I
Mhm.
believe, in Houston.
All right. Well, that helps me in my pick here later in the show.
You trying to win the picks there, huh, Mike?
I want to give an educated guess.
Okay, so the next game on the list here, Austin P versus Georgia. Austin P, crazy enough, Hans sits there and shakes his head no. Austin P's been on a streak where they're at. They're not necessarily in the big leagues. I wouldn't classify them in a category with a Tennessee or what have you. But, even my wife has taken notice of Austin P, and she doesn't take notice of anything when it comes to football. Austin P's been having a pretty big run here. I don't know if you guys have noticed.
No, I haven't.
And they had a pretty good year on their level of the FCS 1AA last year. They didn't.
Yeah.
From what I remember, they didn't make the playoffs, but they were close. But today, it's just don't get hurt. I mean, that's.
Come on, I think that they could have a chance. I mean, come on, we're talking about Austin P here. When I grew up, man, it was like Austin P plays local high school ABC, and they've got all walk-ons because they had to beg people to play. But I think this year, they put together some players that are making some action happen, like Tom said, in their conference and in their world, and so they may see this as an opportunity to really make a statement. I don't necessarily think that Georgia's going to get slaughtered or anything like that, or even lose the game, but I think that this is going to be something that's going to be interesting to watch.
Well, they would be making a statement if they can be outscored by more than 30 points or something.
What, keep it within 30? Is
Yeah.
that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That would shock me, if they keep it within 30. I think that Georgia will be up by more than 30 at halftime.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying they make a statement if they keep the score less than 30.
Right. Yeah, that would. If they hold Georgia less than 30, that would be.
Right.
Well, I'm going to go out on a
Impressive.
limb here, and I'm going to make the statement that's going to make all the broadcasts all across the country when Austin P wins this one over Georgia. I'm going to predict an Austin P win by a field goal, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, my goodness.
Austin P win by a field goal. And when I win this, and everybody in the country is now paying attention to this loser, Jared Scott, that knows nothing about football, then we'll all be on the radar.
That will be the biggest.
It would be the biggest
upset all time.
Oh yeah.
It would be.
I'm all about underdogs. Go Austin Peay. Let's go Peay. Flies open.
Let's go
Peay.
Yeah.
Jared, I'll go ahead and
Peay.
jump on with the rest of the country and call you
Crazy.
slightly.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
Okay, so Michael,
There's a lot of other
you know, so Michael,
Or
you know,
football
there
genius.
are a lot of other language pieces that you but we need to keep this PG so that we can still have our young audience out there. That's the
That's
young,
right.
young, more than millennial audience there.
Here we go.
Okay, so when we're looking at the next game on the list was Central Michigan versus Kentucky. Another one of those. This is going to be one of those weekends where everybody's doing their warm-up games against teams that maybe not. But, you know, what are your thoughts on that Central Michigan versus Kentucky? Is Kentucky even going to look like something in the SEC this year?
Well, they've had Stoops for a while, so he's got the players he wants. I mean, there are things, and you know, half the SEC doesn't know what they have at head coach this year, so they got a new one. Kentucky, at least the coach has his players, but I think they've about gotten to where they're going to get, you know, where they can maybe sometimes go 4-4 or so in the SEC.
Maybe sometimes
you know,
beat
when
a
it
Tennessee.
works
Is
out.
that,
Well,
everybody lately has been able to do that, but
some reason it's a feeling. It's not any kind of. I know Kentucky other than history, and I think they've topped probably. I see a step back maybe, or it set 6-7 games. I
think this year, I don't think I don't have them going, even 4-4 in the conference. But that's about. I think that's about their peak.
Well, they have a new quarterback coming in. I looked into that, and it's a junior college transfer, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that's going to work out.
they'll be fighting with Vandy, Tennessee this year.
Missouri, maybe.
And,
maybe.
Just looking forward to basketball season.
Yeah.
Over
So
there.
I feel like Michael Hahn is enjoying the fact that he's able to put Vanderbilt and Tennessee in the same category right now.
And I can't even say anything
And
about it.
Tom
it's
just can't even make any comments about it.
Can't.
It's
Not right
it's
now.
just too painful.
It has been a matter of fact for so many years. I mean, decades. You know,
Yeah.
not even years.
Decades. Of course.
And to keep with picking underdogs, and now Jared's was a little crazy with Austin Peay, but I have later in the show I'll pick Central Michigan to cover the spread. I think it's 17, and like I said, other than just a feeling, if Central Michigan won, I wouldn't be surprised. And maybe it's because Kentucky. I look at Kentucky and Vandy, always going to be in the bottom of the SEC, and Kentucky hasn't been quote unquote upset lately. If that's such a thing.
Don't say always, you know. We had some good days.
Yeah. There's good days with your bad, but
This is coming from the guy in flamingo shorts today. Good job there, Hahn. Good job. I like it. Stepping out on a limb there.
he has a good day every day if he's wearing flamingo shorts.
Okay, so our next game on the list was Washington versus Auburn. What are we looking at on that? I mean, Washington in the past has done some big stuff, and Auburn has traditionally been an SEC powerhouse. Is this going to be something to watch?
Oh yeah, definitely. This is the best game of the day, I think.
You could. I'd say it's the best game of the day, the most relevant, because I've got Washington making the playoff, and Auburn. I mean, they're a preseason top 10, which most of the time for them means they face plant, but when they're rated high at the preseason, they don't do well. When they're under the radar, that's when you see them in the national championship game. But that's the most relevant game of the day.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd say if there's any negative for Washington, it's basically a home game for Auburn in Atlanta. I think it's Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
And so only 2 points I thought was makes me think Washington might have something, because if you play at Washington, then you say they're a favorite as far as location-wise. So
in the last few years, Auburn, it's taken a little time for their offense to get going.
Yeah.
By about the mid-season, they're going. But you're playing Washington. If they stall, if it takes them if first half they're getting 3 and outs and they're not moving the ball, Washington's going to beat them. Washington's good.
Yeah.
Washington can score for sure.
Yeah, they can. But it's the old, like, SEC is the top defensive football, and I think, I mean, you look at Pac-12 scores, they score a lot, especially with Washington's offense, but every time you see a Pac-12 play SEC, they kind of get, not put in their place, but realize that, okay, we're playing a little bit better defense, I think. And
I still feel Auburn will win this game.
Yeah.
Maybe not by a big margin, but they will win.
Yeah.
I think maybe 1 touchdown.
Maybe blasphemy on the SEC football review, but I've got Washington winning.
Washington definitely is a good team for sure.
And it's partly what I said. It's just Auburn. Sometimes it takes them a while to get going, and you can't. They have to be on today.
Well, with that, do you think now that this is Stidham, the quarterback, I can't think of his name, he's coming back second year. Maybe there's a little comfort.
That should help with that. Yeah, it should help with the getting in the groove a little faster. But again, like I said, I have Washington in the playoff. I think they're outstanding.
Okay, so we're looking at another exciting, thrilling game with Eastern Illinois versus Arkansas. What's going on with the Razorbacks lately? I have not heard anything from Razorback Nation in a long time, it feels like.
New coach, Chad Morris. When they hired Bielema from Wisconsin, I thought that was a great hire at the time. It's like, oh, that's exactly what'll work at Arkansas. Getting him, they're going to be what Arkansas is when they're good, about power running game and tough defense, and living up to the name of the Hogs. It's feeling like I thought. This era, they're not necessarily going to think they were going to win the West, but I thought they were going to be good. I was surprised at the level at which it didn't work out for him there, and now it looks like. The interesting question there is Chad Morris. It's not going to be the same style, so how is he going to use players that Bielema brought in? There's going to be a little bit of conflict there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say with that. You're bringing in an opposite kind of view on offense with Chad Morris compared to Bielema, and so it'll be interesting, and it may work out that the old smash mouth football. Even Alabama with Saban they're smash mouth, but they do add in some other plays and like shotgun. They're with the times. Saban's with the times. I think the days of just lining up and running over people is probably gone to a point.
I think the Razorbacks lost their identity for a couple of years. In the recent years. When you think about the Razorbacks now, what they are good, I can't tell.
They were terrible on defense.
Exactly.
And then they weren't really able to control the game, especially in the latter years of the Bielema era with the run game like you thought they would.
Well, and if you're going to run it, you better have that's low-scoring games, you better have a defense.
Yeah,
right.
It was surprising I didn't work. Now, of course, today, Eastern Illinois, they'll have no problem there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened just for Razorback, just like Gerald said. Even for their basketball. Their basketball used to be good, right?
Yeah.
Nothing is good now. So what is good thing going on over there? I have no idea.
See, my memories of Razorbacks go all the way back to the 1998 season when we were out there in the rain at the beginning of that game. And at the end of that game, it was that overtime. And it seems like every time Tennessee has played a big overtime game, it's been an Arkansas game. Am I dreaming, Tom?
Yeah, well, the multiple overtimes, that was 02. 98 was when they seemed to have it
won. It was up and down emotional.
Clint Sterner stumble and fumble. And
Was that
and
the
then
year?
Tennessee takes it, just Travis Henry every time.
That was the opening into the national championship for Tennessee that year.
Well, that was critical for it.
They used to play some tough game. Do you remember that one game they play at Vanderbilt? Vanderbilt got in the position to beat them in like a double overtime, something like that. Kick a field goal, and the damn ball just dropped like 1 foot before.
That's
that
classic
goal.
Vanderbilt.
Do you remember that?
The
Yes.
damn ball. That's like every Vanderbilt game I've ever heard or watched.
Yeah, that's classic.
You look at that ball, it's sailing all the way. You say, oh, yeah, we got it. And then all of a sudden, the ball just dropped like a dead bird. A pheasant or something got shot by a shotgun.
Okay, so the next game on the list for this weekend is going to be UT Martin versus Missouri. Mizzou, it's nice to. I think it's nice to have them in the conference. I think they bring a lot to the mix. Of course, this is UT Martin we're talking about, not the University of Tennessee, and so I'm sure there's a lot of UT Martin fans that are excited about this game. But I'm not sure that very many Mizzou fans really are paying much attention to this one.
Missouri, what they've done lately is when they play a game like this, they run a big score. When they play lesser opponents, they put up really big numbers. When they play the better opponents,
does the big score, big numbers help with rankings and things like that? Do you think?
Well, I don't think they're good enough to where they're ever going to be ranked this year, but it helps that it helps Drew Lock's numbers, their quarterback. And if they do get it together, I guess he is somebody people pay attention to, one of the better quarterbacks, but he really gets a lot of those numbers in games like this.
Yeah, is he a senior, junior, or is there a chance he's going to NFL?
I would think this is his last year.
Yeah.
I think he would be
I
going
don't
to
know
the
right
NFL.
off, yeah.
But yeah, I think this is they'll post a big score. That's what they do here. With Derek Dooley as their offensive coordinator.
Are you kidding?
All people, yeah, Derek Dooley.
Oh, I did not know that was a.
Well,
that's just a laugh there in its own right.
Missouri used to play pretty good football in the first half of the season. That's my impression.
In Tank, yeah.
Yeah. And,
just not enough depth.
Right. So for this game, I don't think there's a whole lot of doubt. They can pull out pretty easily. That's my opinion.
Are they then? We're looking at probably 6-7 wins. I don't, because I'm not a big Missouri guy.
I would say 6.
Yeah.
See that? I'd have to see all their non-conference, whether they have one. I seem to remember they maybe play Purdue. That'll be maybe. I don't know that I don't think they play anybody non-conference that's a big bully. Top 10, top 20 kind of team. So that factors in. And they're in the East, and except for Georgia, there's no one in the East that you look at that you have almost no doubt about.
Yeah. Well, with that point, going back a little bit to South Carolina. So is there no way there, South Carolina, then in your eyes, you hear they're going to give Georgia, I wouldn't say a run, but they would be a clear number 2 in the East?
I picked South Carolina to be second in the East.
Yeah. Didn't mean to go back.
Again, you got Muschamp's been there a while, got long enough now. He's got players and that he wants, and I would. They've got that a quarterback who's been there. Too, they've got an experienced quarterback that goes a long way. I think their defense is going to be good. So yeah, I've got them second.
I don't see them beating Georgia, but I guess
they're
there in the top. I guess when you talk about
I've got Georgia winning the East, and I'm not even considering anybody else to win the East.
I agree with that. But for the second, I think for some reason I think Florida will be there.
Well,
yeah.
And we're getting to Florida, I think, in a little bit, which we'll get to.
Actually, that's our next conversation piece.
Good lead in.
All right. Charleston South. I didn't even know
Charleston
that was
Southern.
Charleston Southern.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, versus Florida. So I feel like this is another. Once again, this is the game weekend for the most part. This is all the out of conference. I need to beat somebody up games. But Florida is struggling here lately. This has been a downtime for some traditional powerhouses in the SEC. What are we looking at with regards to Florida's season this year? Are we looking at a winning season this year in the SEC? That's the real question with Florida.
New coach Dan Mullen, who's been in the SEC a long time. He was Mississippi State. I thought he was the second best coach in the conference as of last year. And because I kind of grade on a curve. I mean, Mississippi State's a hard place to win. He had him in pretty good shape. So, as far as, I certainly think they'll have a winning season. And they're certainly a threat and not a bad pick for second in the division.
Yeah. I just pulled their schedule up, just looking offhand early on. I think it'll be one where they kind of trick everybody because it's an easier schedule. They got Charleston Southern, Kentucky, Colorado State, at UT. Then after that, I think you'll kind of at Mississippi State and LSU. I think I could see them losing both those. I like Dan Mullen, but it seems year after year their players, I don't know if it's through the administration. It's like they let the players do what they want. I mean, am I right? Earlier this year, or not too long ago, there come out some more stuff on their players getting in trouble, right? I can't remember specifics. But
I think so. I think there was something.
And I don't know. I think they may have a down year even with Mullen coming in. Felipe Franks is going to be their starter, and we've seen him last year or two. He's been benched and back and forth. So I don't know if it sticks to classic Florida. Their defense will be good. Their offense will be awful.
It's been that way for a few years.
The schedule definitely will help them for sure.
Yeah,
they have a couple games to figure
early
out.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I think they should be doing pretty good this year.
And they've been one, though, Hon. You were talking Missouri tanks towards the second half of the season. Florida, if you look back the last couple of years,
that's true.
Because I've had UT buddies, and Tom, you probably think the same way. Florida beats them early, and then Florida looks like crap towards the end of the year. They lose 3 or 4 games. And it's like, why couldn't we play them then if you're a UT fan?
Depth, yeah.
So the most exciting game of the day for me, of course, is going to be Middle Tennessee versus Vanderbilt.
Go Doors. I think just look at the rivalry history of these two teams. Vanderbilt has been winning for the last 3 games, right? Last 3 meetings. And we won start from 2015. And 16 and 17.
I figured you'd be excited about this game, Hahn.
I am.
You'd be, for those of you who watch the show, Hahn is a Vandy guy. Got his anchor down degrees over there. And
here we go.
He's the anchor down on the team here.
If Vandy cannot win this game, I think season is over. That's just my feeling for this.
That's a pretty big statement there, Hahn. That's a pretty big statement.
Well, but I like to make big statements.
It's probably accurate, though. I mean, as a Vandy fan, too, I mean, that's pretty – especially when it was the days of bad, they would lose to a Temple, and then it was like, why do I watch the rest of the year?
Exactly.
I mean, it's not that far off. I agree with that.
And also, I think this year is a big year for Coach Mason. And
hot seat?
Exactly. I believe so.
How many wins does he have to keep his job?
I would say if we make it 5-7, he's probably okay. Anything less than that, that will be a big question mark. What do you think, Michael?
Oh, I would agree. Yeah. I mean, and that may be because some people are like 5-7. The rest of the conference, a coach does that, they're out for sure. But I think Vandy. I hate to change, but I'd say they
Vandy tolerates pain and suffering. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
We got a little thicker skin, I think.
But I think with 5, I would keep them.
Is.
Because who would you get? I mean, look at Vandy, and then it just come out the administration could care less money-wise. So who you going to get? And with that being out there in the news now, what coach, other than a stepping stone coach, is going to come at this point?
Yeah.
So we're not going to get a Franklin again, huh?
You might, but he'll be gone like Franklin in 3 years.
That's just the matter of fact, you know.
Yeah.
No matter you do good or bad at Vandy, you'll be gone. You know, that's just,
yeah.
Our next exciting game is Stephen F. Austin. Any team that has the Lumberjack as their mascot has got to be a great team. Stephen F. Austin versus Mississippi State. What are we looking at with Mississippi State this season?
well,
with the football? I mean, they're playing in the side of a conference that is just dominated. And how do you as a coach approach a season when you expect to be the way it is?
Another team with a new coach, Moorhead. Don't have a lot of confidence in that that they're going to work out over time. Now, this year's Mississippi State team, it's expected to be the most talented team that they've had in a very long time. There was some thought last year that Mullen wouldn't leave because he was about to have his most talented team. And so they're going to be formidable this year because they're so talented. It's still, I don't have them as high as a lot of the preseason publications do.
Yeah.
And hiring Shoop as defensive coordinator, we had him at Tennessee. You had him at Vanderbilt.
Yep.
I think, Shoop was successful when he was under Franklin. That maybe had more to do with Franklin.
Well, Moorhead's a Penn State offensive coordinator, so I'm guessing Shoop was there with Moorhead.
I think so, yeah.
So I'm sure that's the tie there.
Yeah.
I would take Shoop in his Vanderbilt days, but Shoop at UT, I don't know what happened.
Awful.
I thought that was a great hire when he went to UT, but obviously.
Same thing here, yeah. But I feel State can have a pretty good season just because they have good players. That's the big thing for them, I think.
So it'd be a future thing. The question is, Moorhead going to sustain that? Can he sustain it? This year is going to be maybe a mirage if he does well.
I think this will be his best year there because of how much talent, but I don't have them near the top at all. Actually, I'm near the bottom of the West, even despite all the talent.
Near the bottom?
Yeah, certainly in the bottom half of it. Yeah, bottom 3. And then another thing, besides not just the coaches, Nick Fitzgerald is suspended for this game, which it won't matter against Stephen F. Austin. They'll beat them easily. But it's not good that the team leader is suspended for the first game, as far as a locker room thing or just how the team chemistry thing. You wonder what's going on there. Apparently it's from some event, something that happened back in March or April or something. It's not good.
Right.
So when we're looking at now the big branded games of the day, of course, anytime Alabama plays anybody of any kind of substance, it becomes a big name game nowadays. We're looking at Louisville versus Alabama. Louisville has been a team that over time here has become a team that is competitive now. Would you say that's the truth?
And Petrino has had success. Louisville has definitely had some decent years. I'm a little down on them this year. I have them. I don't think they're going to be as good as they have been.
Yeah, can Petrino pull out a Lamar Jackson out of his hat?
Yeah.
I think that's what had them the last couple of years that was the team. Of course, their defense, I did hold up in times, but if you're not scoring 50 or 60 points like they normally could in any given game, which I don't know what they have coming in, but I can't imagine it's going to be even with Lamar Jackson or better.
I guess they definitely cannot score on Bama on like 50.
No way. No.
Maybe 20.
I honestly think this is going to be a sleeper game. It's going to be like watching what was Mississippi State Stephen F. Austin, in my opinion. I don't think
it wouldn't
Louisville's got a
surprise me. I
chance.
mean, yeah, if it's a massive blowout. Now, on the other hand, I mean, I don't think the game will be close, but I could see Petrino, all summer to prepare for this, and he has enough tricks up his sleeve that it's a huge spread on. I think it's like 25 and a half or something.
Clearly, ABC thinks that they're going to get the viewership out of it with a 7 p.m. showing. Broadcast on ABC at 7 p.m. That's a pretty big name game, and maybe part of it is because this is the exposure of the number one team in the country where they're coming in, and now the question is, what can they do? What will they do? Are they going to repeat? Right? I mean, that's the storyline, right?
I would imagine, kickoff, everybody's going to be tuned in, but at halftime, is it going to be the same amount of people? You get into ratings or whatnot. That would be interesting to see. I would say by halftime, they're going to find another game. There may be some game on the schedule through the night on ESPN2 or something that ends up being closer.
Notre Dame, Michigan, I think it's on tonight.
Well, for some reason, I think Louisville will stay for the first half with Alabama. They will keep it close for the first half.
So, Han, you picture a depth problem being the issue of this game, not necessarily an ability.
Well, that's my feeling. They will stay half game, keep it close, and maybe for the third quarter, Bama will break away. That's my.
I don't know how they're going to score. I guess. I think Louisville will have to play defense. I don't know. I guess that's my only issue, and I think with not being able to score, Alabama will just add on. And it may take till after halftime before they get pulled away pretty good, but I don't know. I don't see it much of a game.
And, of course, the big-time prime time is going to be that number 8 Miami versus 25 LSU. Is that right? That's going to be a tomorrow game on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
So that's and how often do we? I'm curious. How often? I don't remember very many Sunday night games.
Labor Day weekend.
That's just a Labor Day weekend feature because of the fact that NFL is doing what they're doing on Labor Day, right?
The NFL season hasn't started yet, and it's a holiday weekend. So Tennessee played a Sunday night game back in '04. It wasn't against a ranked team; it was UNLV. But that's become, I think, a more feature game now, and it's a great spot to play.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And to kind of have the college football world to yourself for a night. And
right.
That's a solid game.
It's almost like the feeling of Monday Night Football on the NFL side, I guess.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it could be a good matchup. I mean, they may not have the exact like a Washington-Auburn, but I think it'll be the same kind of feel and can be the same kind of game. A close, probably low scoring, but a good game to watch for even if you're not a fan of either one.
And longtime SEC coach Mark Richt on the other sideline. Georgia's coach for many years now, Miami's coach. And, I think, looking at LSU, it's just a matter of can they finally get a quarterback that works out for them. It's just their offense. Their defense is always so good. Their offense just.
Where do you think LSU will be?
I don't think they're going to be that good either.
Their quarterback they got from Ohio State, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
His transfer, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's a senior, right?
I think he is.
Yeah.
But usually when you get late transfer, that quarterback, like
I got him.
he's just looking to play. Yeah. I don't know.
Right.
I've got him middle of the pack in the West. I mean, I've got him ahead of Ole Miss, Arkansas, and then right in there with State, and then behind Alabama, Auburn.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, let me ask you this: and LSU, Mississippi State, if they're in the East, are they with Georgia, ahead of Georgia, or
They're both behind Georgia
Probably
for sure, and then they're in that. Yeah, that you could certainly be justified in picking them second or third for sure, but certainly behind Georgia.
I agree. Yeah.
It's funny over time how, like, because I remember when the East would be stacked. Georgia, Florida, UT.
Right.
And then all you had in the West, you may just have an LSU or Alabama, and that was it.
Every once in a while, it was. Yeah, the West was, everybody was sort of packed into the middle, and no one stood out there. And yeah, I mean, someday it'll balance back out, but
what goes around comes around. What goes around comes around.
Yeah, this year definitely will be a good year. I mean, for the team who are struggling at the East, I think it's a good opportunity for even Vandy to make something happen for this year for the East.
Of Vandy, Kentucky.
Because there's so many teams are down this year.
Yeah. I wish it would be Vandy, but
I just see a bunch of teams, Florida, Vandy, even Kentucky. I think that there's a big opportunity over there for sure.
Yeah, there is. There is. I agree.
For the East.
Okay, so let's wrap it up with some over-unders.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, we missed Tennessee, West Virginia, 2:30. That's a prime time afternoon. Like
Tennessee has another picture.
I'm not a UT guy, but that's a good game.
Pretty sure Jared skipped right over Tennessee.
And I thought you were a UT guy there.
It's interesting, Vandy guy, about Tennessee.
Well, I mean, we'll give them not a lot of credit, but I will give them. They're due to be talked about.
What are we looking at with West Virginia? Let's talk about that then. When we're looking at West Virginia, is this going to be something where we're going to struggle? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I am somewhat concerned here lately, and now I am excited because I feel like that we're making a turnaround. What are we looking at?
So Holgerson, the coach, he's been there now a good while and known as an offensive guru, and then Will Greer's quarterback, and then their offensive line's rated high. They've got a receiver who's very highly rated. So offensively, they're supposed to be really, really good. Their defense was dreadful last year, and I'm hoping that that continues on to today, because otherwise we're going to be in for a long day. But
yeah, and I think it's been talked, like, if Tennessee can run, I mean, I think that's the way to beat West Virginia. If they control the game, run the ball. Because I don't think if it's a shootout, I don't think Tennessee's going to.
I think that's why I'm thinking control the game, control the clock, run the ball a lot ball control offense. That's going to be the key.
What does it mean to be first in the Big 12 nowadays? I mean, is that something that's a value? That's the real question.
If you win it, you're probably pretty good. It gets down though after, because Oklahoma last year was obviously. I mean, that game with Georgia was great in the playoff, and but yeah, it really they've got at the bottom of that conference is really bad. And then they've got some pretty good teams, but not. They have big weaknesses.
Yeah, I think it's Oklahoma's the standard. Then you probably got Oklahoma State, West Virginia, TCU maybe.
TCU gets there with the solid defense. They're the one team in the Big 12 that's their calling card.
Right. But other than Oklahoma. Now, West Virginia might win today. That's a win against an SEC team. But I would say generally after Oklahoma, the rest of the Big 12's probably mid-pack SEC and below.
Yeah, Oklahoma has no doubt they will be will be the winning team. Coming back to Tennessee for this year, I think that the best news for Tennessee for this year is there's no news for preseason.
You're right about their.
No
The last few years, especially with Butch Jones, we'd have a lot of injuries in practice. I mean, before the season even started, we got through practice pretty good shape there, and not dealing with any discipline issues or anything that we got to talk about. So it's
yeah. Well, is it going to be? And I think he's starting. Is Garantano going to be?
I believe he'll. That seems to be the general consensus. I mean, it's been.
Is it a short leash or a long leash?
I mean, they were. You bring in a guy, fifth-year guy from Stanford, you'd think that you're bringing him in, to play.
Right.
But I think it winds up being that he winds up being the veteran, a guy that you can put if something. God forbid happens to Garantano, then he can bring in a guy who's got experience and come right in. I think it's going to be Garantano, but we've been told all along it's super close between the two. So,
what do y'all think about the coach? I mean, for this coach, the big difference for me is I didn't hear anything about him. Comparing with the past couple guys. Preseason, Dooley had something going on, and that last coach got something, Butch, right?
Yeah.
And this coach has been very quiet. I didn't hear anything.
I've liked him so far, but then it's all going to be about the eye test.
I didn't even I didn't even hear about anything. His wife talking about something.
No, I mean he's not cliche guy.
I was a little disappointed.
It's very refreshing that we didn't hear a bunch of cliches out of him.
It's probably I think that's a good thing. And I know a lot of people. He's first time head coach, but in my eyes, if you look at first time head coach, although he's been coordinator for years in SEC, he knows the SEC. I would automatically think would have been just as good as when Butch Jones was coming in. Yeah, he took Cincinnati to that, but it's a different world the SEC.
Yeah, I used to think, all right, which would you rather have, somebody who's been successful in a conference like the MAC or a coordinator at a championship program?
Right.
And I used to see that as fairly close, but now I don't, because I think if you're a coordinator at a high-level program, you're used to fishing in the water that like recruiting, where you're wanting to recruit. You're used to everything that goes around being in a big name program, and it's just different. But you've seen it. You haven't been in the spotlight, but you've been so close to it, you can see how to handle it.
You lean towards.
Do you still call UT a big name program?
That was.
We're gonna. Well, I mean that's what happens when you start losing to Vanderbilt, which is obviously nowhere near a big name program. Then you're. It never has been.
That's
since
kind of
the 20s.
that's kind of the motto from some teams in the SEC.
Yeah. Tennessee's still a big name. But going back to the point of the coordinator, I lean towards. You've been in the SEC because I think these, like Butch Jones, I think it was overwhelming. He may never have admitted it publicly or will. But I heard, like with Derek Mason, of course, it's just Vanderbilt. But when that first year, it looked like a clown show. He didn't. I remember going to the first game, and Han, you might have been there. I remember watching him on the sidelines, and it looked like he didn't know where he was. He didn't know, and the whole year, and they got beat. I think it wasn't Temple. It was someone like that just destroyed him.
Yeah.
And he didn't look. And the whole year it looked awful. And I thought after that first year, now the second year
Stanford.
but he said that the SEC after like his second year. He was like, I wasn't ready for that. I didn't know. He said, I thought I knew what to expect, but he said it was a whole different ball game, and I think that goes a long way. I mean,
SEC is a tough world.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that.
And I hate being an SEC homer. You know, you hate to be that type of person for the rest of the country. They hate the SEC, but I think there's a lot of truth to it. It's like NFL, then step down.
Well, there's a reason. There's a reason why when you look at the playoffs and when you look at the top 10, there's a consistent pattern.
Yeah,
and the pattern is very clear, and the data points to it. It's not like we're getting preferential treatment, I would say, in the conference.
No. I think most people in the nation still think SEC will put 2 teams in the Final Four.
Yeah,
could. It would certainly could be Alabama and Georgia again.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think.
Okay, so we're gonna do the roundup. Did you guys pick your over-unders? I know Michael got his trusty newspaper out here, and he's been taking his notes on it. It's the Tennessean, right? We're not plugging a spot for the newspaper, but you know it's old school, right? Old school. You know, it's so crazy in this era, you know, and that's the interesting thing, you know, of course, this is live streamed and it's going to be podcast afterwards. But when we look at this, right, the new era, Michael is the representative from the old era. Do you need some glasses there, old man?
I might. I'm bringing Jimmy the Greek back here with the looking in the paper and picking lines.
Okay, so who wants to go first? Are we going to just walk through the games? I think that's probably the best route to go, and we'll pick our over-unders on each one of these. Northwestern State versus Texas A&M. What is the over-under on that particular game?
Well, I picked Texas A&M to cover the spread.
Yeah, we're going to do a spread. Over-under is total number of points scored.
But
we'll do the
they covered
spread.
That, right? 59-7. That was Thursday.
Oh.
So, but yeah, I pick them.
I'm sure you do. And then when we look at, do we want to just pick the ones that haven't played yet? I guess because
let's don't pick.
I don't know that I necessarily trust Michael's honesty about his past picks.
I hear Northwestern State's got something this year. You may want to take them to Texas A&M.
Okay, so when we look through the games, just refreshing my memory here, Northwestern State versus Texas A&M, that outcome is over, correct? And that's what was the over-under originally, and do we even know?
It was 45 points. I didn't even think there would be a spread on that, but yeah, 45, and they covered, right?
Yeah, sounds like they did on the spread.
Yeah, they covered.
But yeah, that's the spread. The over/under would have been the total number of points scored. It's not the over/under is not the spread.
Jared, get your terminology right.
Yeah, I'm trying to give you the hint here, Jared. It's not over/under.
Okay, I'm the redneck that just likes to watch the football game. So
call it the line or call it the spread.
Since I didn't spend a lot of time in Vegas trying to win some money, it probably didn't work out very well for me whenever I'm trying to bet.
The rest of us must have a gambling issue.
Yeah, you can call it.
I'm starting to wonder.
I don't.
Oh.
Oh, okay. So we'll start with Han then. Han, how would you like? Let's just pick the games straight out for our SEC games that haven't played. Start picking, guys. Which one do you want to go with first?
Start with the first.
Yeah, just go down your line.
Yeah, go down to who's after Texas A&M. That game. Let's see.
Coastal Carolina versus South Carolina was next on the list.
Obviously, I didn't see a spread
no
on
line.
That. Yeah, no line. I
don't know that I've got a line.
Ole Miss versus Texas Tech.
That's the one that was Texas Tech by 2.5 was the spread on it. The line. I'm taking Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Me too.
I'm gonna go Texas Tech.
Oh, well, we got somebody breaking. Got a feeling. Next round was Austin Peay versus Georgia.
There's probably no line on that.
I didn't see a line.
Come on, I'm picking Austin Peay on that one. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
That's Central Michigan versus Kentucky. Probably nothing there.
No, there's a line. There's a line on that.
Oh,
I
really?
think it's 17.
Yeah, and I'm going to take Central Michigan. I don't believe in Kentucky this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big statements.
Now basketball, okay, but yeah.
Big statements from Clay.
I'm going to take Kentucky, but yeah.
I'll stay with Kentucky for that one.
Washington versus Auburn.
Auburn.
I think we already talked about it. There was a lot of people
and
picking stuff.
Two points is
wow, that's a close one.
Auburn's 2-point favorite. I take Auburn.
I'm taking Washington.
I take Auburn win by at least 1 touchdown.
Ooh.
Wow, he's making big statements.
Yeah.
Big statements. Putting his money where his mouth is. West Virginia versus Tennessee, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll be a homer. I'm going to take Tennessee. I think Tennessee will be able to run the ball on them, and I'll take Tennessee plus 10.
Tennessee's not ranked, and if I get my numbers correctly, West Virginia is currently ranked number 17 in the country. Is that correct?
I believe that's right.
Yeah.
Tom's picking his hometown.
I'm going to take West Virginia. It's 10 in the paper here, and I mean, it may be close if Tennessee can hold it, but I think towards the end of the game, it may be a close game, but if it's 45-31, that's close, but I don't think Tennessee can cover. I think West Virginia pulls away towards the end.
Yeah, I think I have to go with West Virginia too. By 1 touchdown.
Yeah. Well, is that?
Then that would be Tennessee plus
Yeah.
10.
They're giving UT 10 points.
Oh,
So.
wow. I'll still stay with West Virginia.
So West Virginia by more than 10. All right.
Yeah,
All
more
right.
than 110.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next game is Eastern Illinois versus Arkansas. I don't even know. Is there even a
That's
spread on that one?
Probably no line there.
UT Martin versus Missouri.
Probably no line.
Charleston Southern versus Florida.
That one, well, no. If there's Charleston Southern still
Yeah.
1AA, so if that's the case,
I don't think there's.
that's not going to have one either.
There's
Middle
no line.
Tennessee versus Vanderbilt.
That's a 3-point spread for Vandy's 3-point favorite, and in the paper, I don't know when they started doing this, but I like it. They put what it opened at, and I find this interesting. It opened with Vanderbilt a 7.5-point favorite, and it's been bet down. It's been bet
Back
down
for
to
3,
3.
right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we lost 1 player in defense
Yeah.
to the team
Yeah, that shouldn't make that.
disciplinary action.
Yeah, it was
I
a
think.
starter.
Yeah.
Starting
Yeah.
safety, but
I think that's the big blow
Yeah.
for the point going down.
So being that I'm an underdog fan, I'm going to pick Middle Tennessee on that one.
oh my gosh.
Oh.
I
I think Vandy will win 21-17.
I figured that would agitate you, Han.
Yeah.
I'll go Vanderbilt.
with 3 points, I think Vandy does that. 7.5 was getting a little high.
If it were 7.5,
Yeah.
I would have gone
The
MTSU.
Lumberjacks versus Mississippi State. Yeah, probably not any
There's
numbers
no
on
line
that one. Louisville versus Alabama.
Big line on
Bama.
that. It's a big spread on that one.
I find this interesting.
Bama.
Yeah, it opened at. Oh man, where'd it go? It opened
I
at
think it was
28,
Yeah,
28.
which was surprising, and it was bet down. Now the paper says 24, but I think some say 25.
yeah.
So at 24, I'm taking Alabama.
Yeah, I was on the fence about it, and at 28, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I might have taken Louisville or been more tempted to, but I'm going to go Alabama.
I'll go with Bama as well.
Yeah.
And you know me
doubt.
with me being the underdog fan, I'm all in for Louisville. So go Louisville.
In fact, you're going to take them straight up, right,
Yeah.
Jared?
I'll take them straight up to win this thing over Bama.
You got a
Alright.
better shot at Austin
Wow.
P beating Georgia than Louisville beating Alabama.
You know, I still have that belief that sometime a team comes to the player
Oh, it will be
that
amazing.
comes to play, and sometimes people don't come to play, and I think that's proven out in the past with some crazy Tennessee games.
Oh yeah. There's some crazy Bama game too.
You know, I think back to my favorite game with what was it, Appalachian State?
Oh, yeah.
those are exciting. I like.
It was not long ago. Bama lost somebody for the season opener, right?
Well, last time they lost any game that was embarrassing was 07 when they lost, I think, Louisiana Monroe.
Monroe.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
But
Yeah.
that's
It was a season opener.
They since then, all of their losses have been against really good teams.
Yeah,
That's true.
Okay, so now we're looking at the premier Sunday night game. That's going to be Miami versus LSU. Looking at a 3.5 spread on that one. Wow, that's a tight one too.
I think it's going to be low scoring. If you're a betting man, I would take the under.
If you're playing,
Yeah,
if you're
if
playing
you're playing,
over under
yeah.
as opposed to the spread.
But the spread, I'm going to take Miami. I don't know LSU. You never know their offense. The defense is good, but I don't.
I'm taking Miami.
I take LSU.
I think I'm going to go with LSU on this one too.
I think you picked underdogs. That's it. I don't think you picked a favorite.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm just a fan of the underdog.
Underdog guy.
That's why I'm producing the show, right? I mean, that's the whole reason why we're doing what we're doing. We're gonna be the fan of the underdogs, and we're gonna be the underdogs. So once again, this is the SEC Football Review broadcasting live from the Cedar City in Lebanon, Tennessee. Thank you so much for watching, and signing out.
We're all but Mike now.